to another WoW Moment. This is David, and today in the WoW I'm going to be discussing Men Creeping on the D.L. And also this is part 4 into the series. If you guys haven't checked out the previous videos, I would advise that you would do so, because there's a lot of eye-opening messages in that. Basically, in this part 4, I want to just touch base on something different. I want to just focus on the LGBT community, and I just want to focus on such other topics that pertain to the LGBT community, because there's still a lot of turmoil in the LGBT community going on. There's still a lot of craziness. There's still a lot of rivalry going on in the gay community. And I just want to touch base on that. So we now have the gay marriage that's been approved for all equality for all LGBT people and for people as well. Lately, since that's been approved, there has been a change within the LGBT community. It's more so becoming the norm. It's more so becoming more out. It's not so much as hidden, because everything has been coming to the light. Quite the contrary to that, the men that are creeping on the DL, basically, even themselves have also been coming out pretty much more, but it's still pretty much hidden. It's still pretty much kept into the dark, basically. And lately what I've been seeing is just not so much as a difference. As I was stating in my previous videos, it's all pretty much the same thing. You still got married men who are messing with other men on the DL. You got men who are in relationships still messing on the DL. Now you have a lot of bisexual men who are just messing with men and women at the same time. And it's kind of like ping pong, basically going to one side of the table and onto the other side of the table. And it's coming to the point to where it's just pretty much getting out of hand. And I've been noticing a lot of things lately. It's just, I've been having so many men hitting on me and trying to talk to me, and a majority of these men are married, or either married or in a relationship. And not only are they in a relationship or married, I just want to kind of like touch base on that. It's just even more messier than it was before, because not only are men being messy when it comes to messing with other women and having 2 or 3 different girlfriends, now you have men who are having 3 or different girlfriends and now messing with 3 different other men. So now it's becoming even more messier within the LGBT community. And lately, sadly, what I want to say, in the LGBT community, it's more so since we've gotten our equality and stuff, and we're starting to get more of our rights. It's coming out in a way that it's very distasteful, I might add, because lately I've been seeing quite a few stuff that's been happening that I didn't really approve of. Like, you have more gay people who are just being more verbally abusive and just towards the other communities. Sorry. Are being verbally abusive to the other communities and stuff. I've been seeing like a lot of exposed videos and stuff like that, and just craziness happening. And it's kind of distasteful in one sense, because I feel like since we do have equality, we still should keep a low profile. And what I mean by a low profile is kind of not like rubbing in people's faces and stuff, like a lot of the gay community has been doing. It's just been rubbing it all in people's faces. Also, what I want to touch base on, getting back to the men creeping on the DL, it's still pretty much the same thing. Now, I was hoping that with this ruling, with the equality, that men would start coming out of the closet and men would start owning up to their sexual preferences, but it doesn't seem to be that at all, because it still is the same undercover. It's still the same, identity crisis and stuff, because you have men who act like regular men when they're around a certain amount of people, their homeboys, and when they're around a group of other people, they just act totally different. And what I mean by that, like, for example, some of the men at my job, I noticed that there's like 10 different guys on the job who are either gay or bisexual, and you would not even notice it. And that's the crazy part about it. But I'm the type of person where I'm pretty much spiritual enough where I can tell who's LGBT and who's not, basically. And in other words, and contrary to that, I've been having quite a few married men who have been making some sexual advances towards me. And not only that, awesome men who are in relationships as well. And another thing is that I've been finding out pretty much some dirt on these men. And also I've been seeing some dirt. Like, you have this one married man who's been trying to hit on me. And then he's hitting on other girls as well, while also trying to hit on me. And one time, like, my aunt came to the job to get me, and I noticed that one of the men was trying to hit on my auntie as well. So it's just really messy. It's really shady. Like, you know, you're trying to holler at me and you're married, and you're talking to other girls while you're married, and now you're trying to holler at my auntie while you're married as well. It's just really crazy in one sense. Now, I've also been noticing that a lot of men are creeping on the DL. I've been noticing that conversations that they engage with me and stuff, like, I can easily tell that they're trying to get information out of me. Usually a lot of men who claim that they aren't, you know, gay or bisexual, and who are like strongly undercover and stuff, I notice that even when I'm alone with them, would want to engage in conversations such as pretty much my sex life, you know, intimacy and stuff, and what attracts me to other men, and, you know, and just so interested in what I'm interested in. So it's kind of like what I've noticed now, that lately a lot of men that are creeping on the DL, it's like they're becoming friendly with other openly LGBT people, because it's kind of a way of them to get into the social life, basically, because they're kind of trying to set themselves aside, because they're living double lives. A lot of men are living double lives, basically. They go home, they're just regular men, like straight acting, whatever, and you will never know that they're, you know, gay or anything. They come to work, they're straight acting, and you will never know that they're gay or everything like that. But when they come around me, and when it's just the two of us, it's like their whole personality and their manlyhood just basically just gets switched around and stuff. It's like, I don't understand. It's like they act so different. They act so hoodish when they're around their homeboys, but when they're alone with me, they're very soft. They're very kind of flirty in one sense. And I noticed that a lot of undercover guys, basically, they find likings to my femininity. It's, you know, it's not appalling to me, but it's kind of interesting in one sense, because it's like, for me being someone who's feminine, I noticed that a lot of them find likings to that. Like some of the stuff I do, like they'll sometimes they'll mock what I'll do, and they'll make a joke about it, and they find very likings to that. And it's just really, I won't say it's weird, but it's kind of interesting in one sense, because it's pretty much an eye-opener how a lot of these men act totally different out in public, but when they're around me or around someone who is an openly LGBT person, that they kind of find themselves, they kind of act like who they are, because deep down inside, a lot of these men are not really happy with their sexual preference. They try to hide it to drastic measures, to whereas like everything is pretty much hidden about them. You have a lot of men who are creeping on the DL who are very feminine and stuff, and who are bottoms as well, but they have the identity crisis to where they want to be more masculine out in public, especially when they're around a group of other men who are masculine as well. So what they'll do is that they'll switch up the way they talk, they'll switch up their body movements and stuff like that. But most of the time, you can tell when someone who is acting and someone who's not. I can easily look at a man and tell if he's straight acting, which is a term that the LGBT community uses for the men. They use the term straight acting, And basically, that's a way of saying that, like, I'm feminine and stuff, and I'm straight acting. Like, I can be feminine and act like a regular man out in public, because that's the image that they want for you people to see. They don't want anyone to notice that they may be gay or bisexual, because they don't want to be put under that pressure. So that's why a lot of these men creeping on the DL, they'll use the term, I'm straight acting, and stuff. And even I noticed for some of the people, there's been a lot of rivalry within the LGBT community as far as masculinity versus femininity and stuff. And it's kind of the same thing with the heterosexual community, as far as basically men being superior to the women and women being the weaker sex, basically. So in terms of the LGBT community with the men, it's now a rivalry going on, because it's more masculine men who are taking shots at feminine men and stuff. And it's really crazy, because even for some of you people, if you would notice, if you would go on these gay social apps and stuff, you would see basically masculine looking men, but they really aren't. And then on their profiles, they will put like straight acting. And oftentimes what they'll do is that they'll kind of show, like, they'll throw like side shade to transgendered or feminine men. And what they'll say is, like, on their profiles, like, I'm looking for other straight acting men, or I'm looking for regular or masculine men. I'm not looking for any femmes or faggots, or, you know, stuff like that, or punks or whatever. And it's kind of like a lot of rivalry going on within the LGBT community, as far as basically between the men. And there's just another interesting topic that I wanted to shed some light on this part for, because I didn't really speak about this in the other parts of the Men Creeping on the DL. So yeah, there's pretty much some turmoil going on in the gay community. And also, as far as relationship wise and dating wise, there's no relationships being formed, because it's just too much fornication going on in the gay community. And also in the gay community, it's more so now you have a lot of heterosexual men who are basically being turned out, and a lot of heterosexual men being that they're so much into fornication and lust, and they have some troubles getting it from women, because they have to go through these different transitions and processes to get some sex, basically. Now you have a lot of heterosexual men who are going into the gay community and the gay lifestyle just for fornication. And lately, I've been noticing that the gay community has been becoming more of kind of like all the men are just becoming sex objects. Like, everything in the gay community is just about sex, hooking up, catching nuts, basically. And it's just basically what's happening right now in the LGBT community. And it's just really sad for a lot of us gays or bisexuals out there who are looking for a relationship, something committed and something monogamous. It's kind of hard to find that, because there's so many men who are just hooking up and who are just looking for sex. You can hardly get a date anymore. And not only that, you have a lot of gay guys and stuff who are just very picky and stuff like that. So it's really difficult to find a decent man who you can maybe go out and have a drink with and stuff like that, because 9 times out of 10, if you're even going out for a drink, it's always a drink and then it's back to the bedroom with these men. So lately, I would want to say, the gay community is just very distasteful. It's nothing moral about it. It's becoming even more immoral and stuff. And it's very few gay people out there who are looking for a monogamous relationship, who are looking for something committed, something simple, and not resorting to fornication and stuff. But I would say, sadly, it's like 75% of the men in the LGBT community, it's all over sex, basically. It's all about sex. It's all about fornication. It's all about hooking up. And it's a lot of rivalry going on and stuff. It's who has a nicer body. You have the masculine men who are just showing off their bodies, like now it's like they're idolizing themselves and they're putting other gay people down and stuff. And I noticed that a lot of masculine men, like I said, with the rivalry with the feminine men, it's like they're like taking shots at the feminine guys and stuff. And basically, with the rivalry going on, it's setting the gay community apart to where there's basically no unity going on. Because within the LGBT community, like I said, it's all about idolatry, it's all about fornication, and it's not about love, it's not about relationship, it's not about anything that's monogamous or anything that's committed and stuff. And the crazy part about it is that we've been fighting for our rights for so long, and now that we have our equality to marry, you would think that people would start coming out more. You would think that in the LGBT community it would be more unity, but it's not, because you still have a lot of men who are just undercover. You still have a lot of men who are just secretly gay and stuff like that, and it's really not anything different. So basically, I want to touch base on a couple of other things, because like I said, at my job, there's like so many gay guys at my job. It's just really crazy. And also with that is that you have a lot of gay and bisexual guys who are undercover, and lately they've been like throwing shade to other openly gay people. It's kind of like for people who don't want to come to terms with their sexuality, it's like basically they frown upon it, they oppose it, and they dislike it or they hate it, because but in reality they really hate and dislike themselves, because they don't want to admit that they're homosexual or bisexual or anything like that. So within what I've been seeing lately, for instance, is at my job, it's like a lot of these undercover gay and bisexual guys, like for the gay marriages, for instance, like a lot of them are saying that it's wrong, it's disgusting, it's this and that, and it goes against God's laws and stuff. But my thing is how are you an undercover gay person and you're opposing gay marriage, basically? So technically, it's like you're straddling the fence. It's kind of like you're gay, but then you're not. It's like you want to accept certain parts of the lifestyle. And that's the thing. A lot of these undercover men, they only want to accept certain parts of the lifestyle, which is fornication, going back to that. Because you have men who are naturally used to hooking up, and they're, they're used to basically hooking up, as I was saying. They're used to the fornication, and like I was saying, also that the heterosexual community and also the gay community are actually interacting with each other, because it's becoming more an oversexed thing in the gay community. And touching base on what I was just saying before, men just want to accept only certain parts of that, because you have a lot of men who are undercover. They don't want to be in a relationship, they don't want to be anything committed, because they want to stay married, they want to stay in a fake relationship, in a fake marriage, to basically cover up the simple fact that they are a homosexual or a bisexual, or a man who is interested in fornicating with other men. So what's happening is that you're having a lot of men who are in relationships with other women, and they have children, and they're married, and they're pretty much opposing the gay lifestyle, and they're putting up this facade that they aren't gay and stuff, but when they are secretly. And I'm spiritual enough to literally look at a man and just tell whether if he's gay or not. I mean, that's a spiritual gift that I have for someone who's been, a homosexual myself since I was little. So I can easily look at a man and tell, how manly he is. You have some men who are very feminine, but they put up this facade that they're very masculine, and they want to act masculine, they want to talk masculine, they want to walk masculine. But you have some guys who are so good at acting sometimes that they can even fool you people, but they can't fool me. Because even with some of the masculine guys who act very very muscular and masculine, they sometimes walk with a twister in their hips. and stuff. So I can easily look at that and tell whether they're basically gay or bisexual, undercover and stuff. Also, you would notice that a lot of these men who are creeping on the DL, they're friends with other men who are on the DL as well. Because 9 times out of 10, basically those guys are usually having sex with each other, or they're basically hooking up with other women and hooking up with other men. That's what's happening now. You have a lot of undercover men who are homeboys. They go to the gym, they hang out, they have lunch together at work and stuff, and they have girlfriends and have wives. But secretly, when they're out hanging out, when it's just the two of them, 9 times out of 10, they're both basically having sex with each other, hooking up with each other. And sometimes what they'll do is that they'll find other men, because in the gay community, it's just so easy to hook up. It's so easy to go on these gay websites, and it's so easy to find someone to hook up with. That's just what's happening in the gay community. And now you have a lot of heterosexual men who are going gay like crazy, because you have a lot of heterosexual men who are into sex and stuff. And like I said, since they have to go through many transitions and so many processes with these different women to get some cat basically, or to get some head, they can easily go to another man who can easily give it to them. And since, like I said, since it's so available to them, they're going to go to that source. So lately in the LGBT community, sex has been pretty much a good source for a lot of men out there. And that's for any man, heterosexual, bisexual, homosexual. It really doesn't matter, because it's like a source that they go to. Because for men who are suffering from demons of lust and fornication, they'll turn to that resource, and that's what they're going to for. That resource is for fornication. So basically, with the men being friends with each other and being homeboys, sometimes, most of the time, if they're really close, like if they're always hanging out, like for a lot of you ladies out there, if you have a boyfriend and stuff like that, and if you find that he's not really home 9 times out of 10, if you find like he's not really spending time with you like he usually is, and he's always out with his homeboys, you kind of want to question that. Because usually a man, he want to, if he's a heterosexual man, he want to be around his homeboys most of the time. Usually he would want to be around with you, his woman. But sometimes you ladies have to watch out for that. I want to give you some tips towards the end of this video. The stuff that you will need to look out for. One, you would need to look out for, why is your man always hanging out with his homeboys? What is he doing most of the time? And why isn't he spending time with you? And that can be two things. 9 times out of 10, he's hanging with other men who are undercover, because he's undercover as well, and they want to keep that low profile. And usually if they're hanging out with men who are creeping on the DL, it's usually for sex. And usually they're hooking up with other guys at the same time, finding other guys to have sex with and stuff. And that's basically what's going on. That's one thing you ladies need to look after. And also another thing you ladies need to look after is the change of behavior. Like, is he sleeping with you enough like he used to before, or is he not lately? And 9 times out of 10, since he's not sleeping with you, it could either be that he's sleeping with someone else, or because that he's in the LGBT community and the gay lifestyle, because it's a resource for fornication. Usually he'll turn to that as a resource. That's why he's not coming home to you, and that's why he's not making love to you or sleeping with you, because he's finding other men that he can easily get it from. Because again, it can be a lot of processes a man has to go through just to get some sex from you ladies. And I know sometimes women can be kind of, I wouldn't say stuck up, but sometimes they don't want to have sex. Sometimes they just want to go on dates, they want to have fun and stuff, and that's basically what's going on. So that's another tip you ladies will want to look into, is kind of watch your man's motives, like kind of watch like how he interacts with you and how he interacts with his homeboys and stuff. And another thing, if you notice that usually if your man is very homophobic, or if he always talks about how he hates gay marriage, or how he hates other gay people, or how it opposes him, 9 times out of 10, he's usually an undercover gay person, because that's the way that they use to make it seem like to you ladies that he would never be bisexual or gay or everything like that. They use that as a facade if they're very homophobic, and if they're out in public, if they're making fun of another gay person or saying something bad about them, usually it's because they like that person, or it's something because he may just basically just have a problem with that other openly gay person or whatever, because it's a reflection on him, because he feels that he can't be openly like the other gay person is or bisexual person is, and that's why it bothers him a lot. So that's another thing that you ladies would want to keep a close mind on. And lastly, before I bring this video to a close, I want to touch base on one other thing, is that you ladies out there who are in relationship with these men or who are married, I would get these men tested. Like, try not to have unprotected sex with your boyfriends or with your husbands, and have them get checked out, basically. Because if he's not home all the time, and if he's always hanging out with his homeboys or whatever, usually he's probably having unprotected sex with other men. So you ladies need to protect yourselves, because you have a lot of undercover gay and bi guys who are sleeping with these men unprotected, and basically they're coming back and they're having sex with you unprotected. So they're catching stuff and they're bringing it back to you. So a lot of you ladies, I would suggest that you will use protection, and that you will make sure that have your man get checked out, have him get tested, and if he's denying it, basically, then he has something to hide. So you ladies want to protect yourself and just be very vigilant and stuff, because nowadays it's like a lot of men are just like undercover gay, and a lot of men are just being turned out, and a lot of men are just going towards the gay community as a resource, because it's a resource for fornication for these men to turn to. It's easy for them, if they can't get head from you or any other girl for that reason, he can easily just get it from another man so easily right away, without any hesitation and without any processes. Because basically, being that, like I said, being that the LGBT community is a resource for fornication within the LGBT community, it's going to be a place to where men are going to be going to get sex. So that's one last thing that you ladies want to look out for. And I'm going to be doing a part 5 on this later on in the WoW series. Thank you.